Do I want to know what parrot eagle means?
Oh, geez. I need to change that. I'm doing so I'm a trained coach in
Right.
nation, and we had to do like a whole personality test thing for what kind of leaders we were, and it's based on birds. And so the teacher wanted us to put our primary and secondary birds when we were doing class. Let me change it.
Yeah, so that's on Becca's Zoom name. I mean, I don't know what kind of Zoom calls you're having with Will over there, but if Parrot Eagle works for y'all, who am I? Who am I?
Promise, not a sex thing. Not a sex thing.
I mean,
it's a leadership
a bird
thing.
fetish is not a new one, I'm sure. So
Oh my god, this escalated quickly.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. Yes, at midnight tonight, I suppose I will be.
You will be
40.
40. You are so young. God.
See, meanwhile, I feel old, but
I understand that. But as someone who's turning 50 in just a few short months,
I get it.
I was just on an HOA meeting, and I always forget the president of our HOA how young she is, because she's extraordinarily capable, and very like a strong leader. Like, she wasn't born until 1990.
Oh, okay.
So at least 1990, because we were talking about how she wasn't around for the 70s or 80s. So, and I'm reminded about how young sometimes people are. I kind of sometimes think that everybody who is an adult around me is the same like level of adult. You know what I mean?
Same level of adult.
I assume that every adult has the same level of life that I have. And I forget that there are lots of adults that are, in their 20s, like my child who I spent the weekend with,
Totally.
Great kid, but also, oh yeah, he's only 20, so that's, yeah. Anyway.
Hi, Lexi.
Hi, Lexi.
Hello. Good evening.
Do we have Kaya joining us this evening?
We do. Hopefully not, but she's here.
She's here. We got to do what we got to do. It's all what it is, right? So I was just saying, it is Becca's birthday at midnight.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And it is your birthday, Lexi, on what day?
Friday.
Oh, geez, I didn't realize our birthdays were like so close.
Like, you're having your birthday thing like tomorrow night, which obviously I can't come to because I can't get to, upstate New York.
Well, the actual thing is like May 11th.
Oh, right.
But my parents are just, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going out with my family tomorrow.
Got it. Okay. This is why I'm confused. It's not just the MS flare. It's making my brain boggled with that's a big thing that's happening. So just forewarning. But Lexi's birthday party thing is on Thursday, which I can't go to because of conflicts here with like carpool and all that stuff.
I'm sad. You're missing out on a seafood feast, and like 200 people are coming now.
I know.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be huge.
Oh my God.
Well, maybe not 200, but it's going to be
a lot of people. That's awesome. Good for you guys.
It's a lot. But I do get to see you tomorrow, Lexi. So
you do.
Which I need you bad because it's after my big weekend. My big weekend down in Virginia Tech. I'm in a world of hurt today.
Oh.
And I had to do an outreach thing yesterday, so it's like the whole weekend. So I spent all weekend moving around, and Drake came with me everywhere. But even with Drake, it still hurts moving. Drake is the name of my cane, y'all. Just in case, and yes, that's why.
How'd you pick Drake?
Becca doesn't
Funny
know.
story.
I want to hear
story about that.
Are you sure you want to hear, Becca?
I mean, you sure? I don't know if I do, but
you might have to pray afterward.
Yeah,
those are the best stories. Go ahead.
There was a video leaked of a sex tape of Drake leaked.
Oh, okay.
And my cane is my third leg, so
that makes sense.
Ergo connected.
Got
Connect
it.
the dots.
Got it. That's hilarious.
Yeah. There's my PG-13 name for her is Eileen, but really I just started calling it Drake everywhere. And now
So really your cane is non-binary because it
yes,
has both male and female names, which is
absolutely
kind of cool.
100% non-binary. Yes.
Nice.
Yes. And is equally pansexual, attracted to pancanual, attracted to all canes of all shapes and sizes and colors. Whether you could be a quad cane, you could be a single tip cane, you could be like mine is like one of the I forget. There's all kinds of specific names for the different kinds of feet of canes. I'm learning about mobility devices because babes with mobility aids, right? Hashtag. Anyway.
Hashtag mobility aids.
Hashtag babes with mobility aids. It's actually is a real hashtag.
Is it really? That's cool.
It is. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm gonna have to look at Drake tomorrow. I'm gonna study Drake.
Yeah.
Like how many little pointy thingies on the bottom do you have? How many?
It's a triangle. It's one of these tri-tip ones, and it kind of like it can go all angle-y, you know what I mean? Like it's like jointed. The little bottom is jointed versus just like a straight cane.
Gotcha.
But different people need different things, right? Like mine's like adjustable and stuff. A lot of times, MSers like me who have like, because it's like our disability is like part-time and it's not all the time. It's like I don't need Drake as much as sometimes I need him more than others, and all these things. It's just like it did. Since you're not using it all the time and stuff, sometimes people use walking sticks is what they're called. Christina Applegate designed one that looks really cool. And I know like Jamie Lynn Sigler uses walking sticks, which I think are maybe slightly different than canes because they're just like a little bit different, like with the hand. Like there's certain things that make canes like more like a medical device versus like just a stick to help balance you. And like with mine, it's like I'm still figuring out how to best move around without excruciating pain, but with like being able to do it, considering I have no feeling, and half of it doesn't work. But then when I use it too much or use it a lot, then what is remaining of the leg hurts a lot because it's compensating so hard to walk like normal. So anyway, so trying to figure it all out. And it is what it is when you're in the middle of a flare, relapse, whatever you want to call it. I don't like calling them relapses just because that word doesn't work really well in my alcoholic world. So they call them relapses or exacerbations or flares or whatever. But when I'm in that, I'm getting tired and stuff anyway easily. So a couple of days of activity was just way too much for me. So I spent the day like today was really bad. But yeah. Anyway. So
well, and I've been flaring too. So I think it's just because of the change in weather that often causes flares for autoimmune disorders. So
right. So is that like, I mean, you don't have to get like too specific, but it's like you said your gut, right? So you're like,
yeah, it's mostly like GI stuff, but then I've got other like neurological stuff that happens sometimes too, which is like super weird where I'll be like doing something and all of a sudden like my hand starts tingling and hurting and I'm like, that's different.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Like, where'd that come from? I don't know. Just my weird
happens.
body.
Just happens. Yeah, fun. And I'm starting a new medication, a new MS medication. We're switching meds. So it's going to be a huge change. So
God bless you.
I don't react well to med changes. I like react like very sensitive to it. So this is not going to be fun. So, but
yeah, starting new meds is always a crapshoot. You're like, is this going to make me worse? Is it going to make me better? Or is it just going to be nothing?
But it's awful in the meantime while you're adjusting to it. It's
totally.
And these particular kinds of meds, these whatever B cell, I don't know, even know. I got a whole package in the mail today about it. It's some B cell something or other. I don't know. They're with the way they work on your body. I have no idea. I just know Lexi will make me feel better. She'll give me some fancy herbs for it and I'll poop it all out and it'll be fine. Everything will be fine. But
Amazing.
the Fraudcast will be right back.
And now back to the show.
We are doing Seeking Sister Wives. We're here for Seeking Sister Wives. We're on season 5, episode 7.
7. Yes.
7. Seeking. What was it? Seeking
Answers.
Answers. I was like
Seeking
seeking clarity.
Answers. God,
version of
Jesus,
that.
jizz. A Brazilian wife. The list goes on.
List goes on. List goes on and on and on. So, we are going to, okay, so I don't know, like there was a lot that happened in this episode, but also not anything that happened in this episode. We can like dispose of the Salahis maybe, I don't know, pretty quickly.
Who?
I don't know, I screwed up the name, I'm sorry.
The
Muslim couple.
Oh, Salahuddins or
Salahuddin. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I can summarize it in 20 seconds.
Yes, exactly.
Go ahead, do it.
Get it
All
out
right,
of the way.
Just get out of the way. All right, they go on a date with this girl, Keisha, who's 26 years old. It goes extremely terribly. Keisha is disrespectful by asking
Wait, her name is
questions.
Keisha too?
I'm sorry, Alexis. It's my name. I just didn't want to
Yes.
say my own name. Sorry. Keisha's the one that ghosted them. My bad. No, but Alexis is 26 and she's asking them all kinds of like dumb questions and they're uncomfortable. And she made Nyla feel uncomfortable. And she looked like she was eating chicken tenders and fries while drinking her sweet wine.
It
It was
smelled
just
like
a
That
very
tasted like
snacks.
apple juice.
pretty
and fruit
much she's like,
snacks.
yeah, fruit snacks and
Apple
yeah,
juice.
so then they both decided that she wasn't for them. And the funny part was at the end, the producers asked her how she felt about the date, and Alexis was like, "Oh, it went great. Everything was so wonderful," or whatever. I don't know whatever she said, but did not go
Yeah.
well. Did not
Well,
read
that whole
social
thing was
cues.
stupid. So, like, I mean, they start out by saying, like, "Oh, you ready to go meet her?" And she's like, we've already met her. Remember, like, remind, like, as she was reminding her husband what their storyline was or something. And
That's true because then
Yeah.
because they said, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, the story is they met her at some pool hall."
Right.
And
But they
he
clearly had never met her. So like I'm wondering if she was one of the ones that like Dannielle talked about where they like pay someone to like do whatever.
yeah, and I 100% believe that was the situation because of the slippage of what was verbiage, but also clearly they had never met each other. And he's trying to say like, "Oh yeah, I talked to her, and this is what it's like dating in the wild. I told you it's not going to work out."
So
And again,
awkward.
all fake. This and the Ryans and the other couple, like it's all fake. Like the only one we care about in the show are the Davises and the Merrifields.
I also like when she first walked in and they were like commenting on her clothes, like it made me really uncomfortable.
That was weird.
Yeah, because they were, and I didn't even think she was wearing anything crazy. Like, sure, she was wearing a short skirt, but like her top covered everything. So I was like a little confused.
She was going out for drinks on a date.
Yeah, and
Like, well, of course.
Like, of course you're gonna wear that if you're going out for drink. Like, I don't know. It was just very strange. I was like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, they were weirdly judgmental about, like, I don't know, just like she was all, well, of course I'm going to ask the questions, and why would you think you get any say in how you date us? Like,
Yeah.
because there were the conversation about do you date him first and then all of them, or do you date all of them and then just him? And she said, the wife here said, "Oh, you date all of us and then him." And she's like, "Oh, I thought it was the other way." And they showed like in the moment or whatever you call those, the
On the
talking head.
flies.
Yeah, the talking head of her saying, how does she even think that she would have any say in how that is done? Like, I control that. Like as if it's so absurd to think that somebody might have a say in how they date somebody. Like that.
Well, and we've found that all these couples / families do the dating thing very differently. Like some of them do start with just the person dating, right? And then like and then meet the person. And some of them do it where you're dating everybody at the same time. Like they've all done it very differently. So it's like not even a weird question to ask.
It's
Well,
not.
and if the show is actually authentic, then they would have probably discussed this before meeting, right? You'd have a conversation about what your expectations are, at least before you'd go out. I would think, like, hey, this is our goal, or this is what we're looking for, but it ain't real.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, which then supports that they had never met. Because I feel like they would have had, like, if they had introduced themselves and talked about it, like, there would have been at some point been like, okay, we're going to go on a date with all of us because that's what we do at the start.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing was just stupid and weird, and it just move along. At least they didn't have mother-in-law or whatever there to talk
Yeah,
about.
I was getting sick of that plot. I was like, we need to not do that anymore.
If we saw one more scene in the kitchen, I swear, at the dinner table. Ugh. Yeah. Okay. So we'll start with the Merrifield family then.
Okay.
Okay, let's just go in there.
Okay. So they're back in Colorado from their trip, and they break their news to what looks like Danielle's family, not his family, that
Mhm.
they are now engaged to Natalia. And the look of the family members, her parents, her brother, and his wife was just so unhappy and shocked.
It was really bad.
Yeah.
Didn't her
And
parents go with her to Mexico with the boys?
Yeah. Well, with Bert,
No, but didn't they go this because they brought the boys down this time?
I don't think they went.
I don't remember seeing them. I remember seeing the boys, but I don't
I
know.
think the
Boys,
boys
okay.
went
Maybe I
without
just
them this
assumed her
time.
parents went. Okay.
Well, then
Okay.
we learn that Garrick only spoke to Natalia for 2 to 3 months, didn't meet her, but that one time, and then proposed to her. So, how do you really date somebody who doesn't speak your language in 2 to 3 months and feel confident enough that they're going to be the one that you're supposed to be with? Like,
Well,
what?
he's confident she's desperate enough to pretend that she's into what he's offering her because she wants the green card and to get out, and she wants all the money that he's going to give to her. And of course, he hasn't given her a ton yet because it's only been 2 months. It's only
Well,
but so much money you can give out in 2 months.
that's when he says that, well, she's a lawyer and her dad has money or whatever, and
She's
that
no.
she wants to be a lawyer here in the States or whatever. First of all, she doesn't speak English. Okay. So, and I'm not judgmental on that, but I'm saying, like, how do you come over, become a citizen, and have to learn the language to then take the bar to do whatever you need to do to get your, like, right? You're
Right.
like, that's a lot. And
Well,
he
I'm
has
pretty
these,
sure
like,
you need some sort of schooling in addition to passing, like doing the
of
bar,
course,
because like
it doesn't transfer.
right, like my brother was in classes with a lot of international students in law school because there were a lot of people who were practicing lawyers in their own country, and then when they came to the States, they had to like redo the
Yes.
degree.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And a lot
Same
of
with MDs.
there's a lot of international students who come over and get there's a thing called an LLM, which is like a master's in law, but you actually get it after your JD, so it sounds like a mid-level, but it's not. It's actually higher. And it's sort of a specialization. You see them often in taxation, and you see them in a couple other very specialty areas. They're not common. It's not a big thing. Most people don't get them. You can get them in certain things. It doesn't necessarily help you. I mean, they're very, very uncommon, right? In certain things, but you get them in like comparative law, which is studying, the different law policies or whatever structures of different countries and how they all work together, the Hague and and all of those international comparative law type stuff. You can get them in those, which is often for the international students who have their respective countries equivalent of a JD, they're a lawyer, and then they come here and get this other degree and then, go on.
yeah, so at the
Yeah.
very least, she'd have to do that, right?
And
Like,
how old is she? She's like a fetus, right? So
She's like in her mid-20s too, early mid-20s.
she's like
Yeah.
21 years old or something, right?
No, she's like 25, I think, or 24. She's not 21. She's definitely older than that.
no, I think she's mid 20s.
Okay.
I do
But
remember
still
that 'cause
not
I
a
was
lot
like,
of time for her to have gone through any kind of we can't assume she hasn't had any schooling, but I mean, I don't know what Brazilian schooling is to get to be a lawyer, but I feel like Garrick calling her lawyer is the same way Usman called Lisa a doctor. Which is
Well,
to say not at all.
yeah, and then Danielle's brother brought up a good point about what happens now that Dannielle and Garrick are no longer married. And if he marries Nathalia, what happens to Dannielle and does she just get thrown to the streets if they get, divorced and she has nothing? She has
Right.
no rights. She has no financial anything because she's no longer his wife. After
I mean, she isn't now. So, I
Right.
mean,
Right.
regardless of him being remarried or not, she got divorced and without any protection. So she's SOL.
Yeah.
And
Well,
word on the street is she has another baby.
What?
oh,
Yes.
What do you mean?
She has a baby girl, allegedly. Now, this is like people have seen pictures because they put their house up for sale. There's like baby stuff in it, and that's how like people figured it out. But I think in some of her interviews, the way she's sitting, I've caught a couple of times where her hand is doing the thing on the top of your belly. Yeah.
oh, interesting.
So go back and watch it. So the
Oh.
word on the street is she has a baby. So she might be pregnant in these, which would maybe explain her blow up later when she's like, she hasn't texted me back. She saw my text messages, hasn't texted me back. Which we'll get.
Interesting.
Anyway.
Yeah. I have a question about that scene, but we can keep going with this one
Okay.
first.
So when Danielle's family asked Garrick like why he decided to go so fast, he said, I guess I'm just obeying God when he was confronted with practical questions that practical, intelligent people would ask. He said, I'm just obeying God.
Yeah.
I think this is the best. I'm going to use this anytime. Like, Katrina, why are you standing in front of the freezer eating that gallon of ice cream?
I'm just obeying God.
I'm just obeying God again.
God told me I needed dairy and sugar.
Right. So like, okay, let's talk about like obeying God and like pacing.
Please.
So like if God sends a message to us to do something, because God still acts. So like this does happen periodically. Like unless there's like a specific urgency to it, like it doesn't mean do it immediately. So like I'm confused because every time someone's like, how come that you're moving so fast? And he's done this with Dannielle, he's done it with Danielle's family, he's done it with Nathalia when Nathalia was talking about stuff. Like his whole answer is, well, God made it clear and like I'm obeying God. Okay, but like God didn't say like and step on it.
Well, apparently he did in Garrick's world.
I mean, in Garrick's mind, but like he has not said anything specific to clarify that God actually told them to like do this quickly, right? Like,
right. Well, he describes it in this scene about and he makes sure to say that Dannielle felt it too, right? This feeling and this thing washed over them and the waves and all the things. But yeah, okay. You felt God's presence. I guess that's what that is, but I don't see like a soliloquy in there that lists out a bullet point list of all of these things you have to do and the dates you have to complete them by.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
That wasn't
That's
included.
What I mean. Like, I'm not saying that you can't get a message from God with some urgency, but like, he's never fully like articulated, like, yes, God said we need to do this quickly. That's never been a thing. He's like, oh, like we felt peace, or like, oh, we felt happy and we laughed, or like whatever. And like, those are all wonderful.
We felt happy and we laughed.
Right.
Oh, that's the bar. That's
so I have a comment about that because in one of the classes I teach at the seminary, I do a unit on the charismatic movement. And so like, this is our history lesson for today. There was a revival that broke out in Toronto in the 90s, like 1990s. I should be clear, 1990s. I don't want people thinking they're like 1790s. There was, I mean, maybe there was, but anyway. There was a lot of what people in Christian circles call manifestations of the Spirit, right? So like people being slain in the Spirit, like getting knocked over, or like people feeling God's presence. But the biggest thing that was a hallmark of this particular revival, and it became called the Toronto Blessing. So if you want to read more about it, you can Google Toronto Blessing and it'll pop up, is holy laughter. where like the Holy Spirit came powerfully present and people like started uncontrollably laughing. So, you know how we've talked about like I've tried to research like what their background is and I can't find anything. I'm wondering if they come from a more Pentecostal background because he's referencing these manifestations of the Spirit that I haven't heard him like talk about before.
Interesting. Look at you, religious sleuth. Look at that. Like that's a research project, right? Is like how you research somebody's religious background via their appearances on a shitty reality TV show.
I feel like Becca should slide into his DMs, and because you're a pastor, you can be like, I am like, just wanting to know a little bit more about your background. I'm doing some research.
He probably wouldn't want to talk to me. Right, but he probably wouldn't. I mean, I am doing research, but he probably wouldn't want to talk to me because I'm a female pastor.
Oh, yeah. Well,
as proven by his sexist monologue later.
Or it's the opposite, and he would love to talk to you because he feels like he can
save my soul.
Right. Oh,
God, he's gonna save your soul with his Jesus just.
Oh God.
You're gonna be the fifth rose.
Yeah.
The vagina necklace.
They can't even get to the second rose. So like
so it's a while before he's getting to you.
We got time.
Oh my God.
But that's what like I found that very interesting because he has talked about like experiences of God before, but usually they're like not specific experience, right? They're like, oh, we felt peace, or oh, like we got a message from God about like a rose, right? Like I forget what he calls it, sweet rose, I think. Like that kind of stuff. And so like you hear that in a lot of Christian circles that people are getting messages from God. But like this was the first time where I was like, I wonder if they're Pentecostal or charismatic.
You know, it's really fascinating, I think, when you say something like, I could watch the show and be like, oh, we barely talked about God at all, other than his, vision or whatever, his warmth that was like pee in a pool, like washing over him. Other than that, I would be like, oh, there's like nothing theology related at all. But then you come along and you're like, every other word is based on this, or this. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, Garrick really does pull these random things out, and it really connects those dots so much more for me, that he actually is not just saying, oh, cause God, like he's saying, cause God and the hyssop and the roses and the carbon monoxide fumes from the car in the garage are all mixed together. And suddenly here's a vagina necklace that I designed for all my wives.
Well, and that's why it's like interesting to hear him talk. Like, obviously it's crap, but like he's pulling from stuff. Like he's just not it's not gobbledygook, right? Like
that's what I always thought it was.
No, like he's pulling. Well, and it's interesting too that this has come up way more in this season, because the last few seasons, like he'll maybe say something like once in passing and then like never talk about it again. And I don't know if they're editing it specifically this way.
Right.
And maybe he talked about it like it before, but it just didn't make the cut. I don't know. But like they're clearly highlighting more of the spirituality, theology stuff with him this season. Right. So I don't know if that's they're emphasizing it more, or they just decided to edit that in more. I don't know.
Yeah, it is really interesting though, because yeah, and I still get, and it'll never end as, Dannielle, why are you with him? You clearly disagree with everything he's saying. Well, yeah, except for that she does disagree with him. And now she's so tortured because she disagrees with him, but she doesn't think she's allowed to disagree with him. So now she's trying to do all the mental and spiritual gymnastics she can to change her own feelings, which apparently are inherently bad.
We'll talk about that.
We'll talk more about that, to fit into what Garrick wants, because all this is Garrick wants what Garrick wants, and those physical or man-made desires or whatever, his Garrick desires, he is using God as an excuse, and he probably actually believes that God is telling him this stuff, right? Like,
oh, for sure.
And so, yeah, versus I've been watching the Chad Daybell trial. And that is bananas. We're hearing audio recordings of like him his blessings on Alex Cox, and how he's going to pass soon and thankful for all the things that he's done for him. And then he did die 2 weeks later. Like,
Is he the one that got shot, right? Like the
no,
Alex?
that's the one who killed everybody else, but then died himself on the toilet. Some weird health incident, some heart
Oh, right,
incident,
right. Okay. Gotcha.
Whoa.
heart
Hmm.
incident.
That story was so crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, Chad Daybell trial's going on, so there's just like tons of this coverage. I've been just glued to it. It's been fascinating.
Wow.
Anyway,
Well, later on we see Garrick going mountain biking with his best friend Bill. And when Garrick tells Bill what's going on with him and Natalia,
wearing his good
and
black tank top.
yeah, he's like, we're going to spend more time with Natalia, and we're planning on getting married in Brazil legally and then filing it in the United States after. Bill said Garrick is a crazy bastard. And I was like, finally, somebody has something like real to say about him.
But he's
like,
also like, yeah, that tracks.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Like he's
I'm-
like, this is exactly what you do.
I've known Garrick since like elementary school, and yeah, he's not surprised.
Yeah,
So
like, and he's, what are you gonna do here? What are you gonna do here? And Garrick's all like, I don't know. Like, he hasn't considered any of these things. Like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna stay down there? Is she gonna come up here? Well, she's got to stay down there. So you're gonna go down there, marry her, and leave her down there? Like, what? And then, oh wait, no, you're gonna go down there by yourself because you're leaving your
family.
non-wife at home, who's probably can't go because she's pregnant and can't fly anymore. So you're going to fly down there, you're going to marry her without any of the rest of the family, and then you're going to stay down there. Like, what is happening here?
Sounds like a
Well-
good vacation to get away from reality and just
Well-
distract him.
Yes. And I also like this was also something, and they didn't bring this up, but I wonder like if there's rules around applying for K1 visas back to back. And so
Mhm.
that's why they have to do a marriage visa versus a K1 visa.
Probably it's like
There-
red flagged.
There
Yeah.
are, I don't know if there's a time, can't remember from the days where we used to have the visa officer on the show, but I think you can get two fiance visas in your lifetime.
Really? So there
But
is
I
a
don't know
limit.
if there's a time frame between them. But I wonder, yeah, I do wonder about the what maybe choosing to do the spousal versus would make it more likely to be accepted.
Yeah.
Because they're probably thinking the visuals don't look good.
Mhm.
The
Well,
optics
right.
Well,
the
speaking
optics
of-
don't look good.
Speaking of visuals, did you guys see that the little wordage hanging on the wall of the Merrifield's house? The little quote.
Wall
Oh,
art?
was it? It was
The
1
wall art.
Corinthians 13. Are you
Yeah.
referencing that? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that was a Bible quote. See, I wouldn't even known.
Yeah. It was love is patient, love is kind, right?
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
thought it was something that she was trying to tell herself every day to get through her day.
Nope. It's 1 Corinthians 13. It's often read at weddings.
Which I specifically told our
Oh.
pastor, I was like, I don't mind like love Bible quotes because I think that there's some really great things in there, but it will not be Corinthians. It will
No,
not
it's
be.
so overdone. And it's not even like in context. The Bible passage is not even about like romantic love.
So I either have never paid attention, or I was drunk at weddings, or my friends never had this in their weddings
What is
because I
it? Love
don't
is
ever.
patient, love is kind.
Yeah.
And does
it
not
does not
envy or
boast. It
boast.
does not. Yeah. That whole thing. Yeah.
You've heard it
Wow.
before. You just don't realize it's from the Bible, probably.
I just don't pay attention, I guess. Maybe I'm just I
Oblivious.
don't know. Yeah, oblivious is the right word.
See, this is why I'm here to be like, that's from the Bible.
Right. All the things
Exactly.
Garrick says are actually based in some kind of biblical context.
Everyone
Yeah, but
listening
he's
is like, duh, Alexis. Like, how did you not know that?
No, I like it's weird out of context, right? Like you didn't have any context for it. So you see the words and you're like, how would you know that's from the Bible? Right. Also, Garrick like
Crazy.
is pulling stuff that's like legit scripture and then like twist it into whatever he wants it to mean. So
This is true.
Yeah. You take love is patient, love is kind as, oh, it's time for me to go, rail Natalia down in Mexico or Brazil,
For
Like-
a month.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well,
So
then
what else is
Danielle.
going on in the scene?
Yeah. So Danielle then is fighting with Garrick and saying that she doesn't think things are where they should be with communication between her and Natalia. and that Nathalia and Garrick talk a lot and respond to messages on social media, but every time like she reaches out to Nathalia, it either takes her a long time to answer, or she doesn't really answer. So she's not feeling that connection. And
She's feeling like the third wheel. Like Natalia doesn't love her the way that she loves Garrick, and she's feeling left out.
So when they were, so that was clearly filmed on her phone when they were having that argument about that. Do you all think that he knew she was filming that? Because I got the impression that he did not.
I agree with you. I do not think he knew.
I don't think he knew it was being filmed. Yeah.
Yeah, because he had a very different tone of voice than when he's on camera usually.
He looked a lot less confused too. Did you notice that? I was like, oh, all of a sudden he has his wits about him. Like he doesn't look like.
Well, yeah, because he's not trying to make all these mental gymnastics about how his really fucked up thinking, like he's trying to like sanitize his thoughts and feelings and actions and for a public audience, right? So he uses all these fancy words and is, oh, I didn't know, or whatever. And then off when he doesn't think he's being filmed, he's more free to express himself as he truly feels, which is, you want to talk about it?
I have the quote.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so after they're arguing in the kitchen, we see Garrick having his on-the-fly interview. And this is when he says this very sexist and concerning quote. I think women are emotional and nurturing, but at the same time, I think it makes them more vulnerable to thoughts, ideas, that come into the mind. And then they run with that emotionally and having to learn to, well, not every thought that enters your mind is a good thought to entertain. What the hell kind of word salad garbage put together sexist shit was that?
A lot of fucking words to say that Dannielle needs to shut the fuck up. Becca, you want to take this one?
Okay, so historically, women's emotions have been used against them, right? So like one of the major like medical diagnoses in the past was like hysteria. For women, right? And so like he's literally
prescribed like you must go to the seaside for the weekend. Like that's I want that. Prescribe that.
Well, it was either that or literally a hysterectomy. So these were the options, right? Because hysteria came from the womb. So yeah. And so he's basically pulling like sexism from like Victorian times and before. Like it's disturbing.
Well, at first I was like, when he first started talking about women and emotions, I was like, okay, like I get it. That sometimes women can be hormonal changes, things like that. So I was like, but then I knew he was going to go take it to a darker place. I was like, here we go. Let's see what he says. Let's see where he's going to go with this.
And when he paused after, when they have they think they can have a thought or whatever was the beginning. Read that beginning part again.
Okay. I think women are emotional and nurturing, but at the same time, I think it makes them more vulnerable to thoughts.
Stop.
Ideas.
Stop.
No,
the long pause after thought was like, oh God, oh no, the poor woman's gonna have a thought. But better stop it.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of like people patting like women on the head and being like, don't worry your pretty little head about this. The med will take care of it.
Don't have a thought. Don't you dare get a thought in that head of yours.
Yeah. They come into the mind and then they run with that emotionally. And so basically he's saying like they shouldn't just react quickly to thoughts that enter their mind. They should take their time to think about it before they let their emotions drive them.
So meanwhile, he was like yelling at her and gaslighting her when they were in the kitchen and being like, but you don't talk to Nathalia, but it's all in your head, basically. And she's like, oh, like, how many times have you talked to her today? Oh, really? She hasn't responded to me at all. Like,
right. There's a difference between her going 8 hours without talking to Nathalia because she's busy and Nathalia responding to Garrick, but not her within the same time period. There are times Katrina texts me and I won't text you for a day because I'm super freaking busy.
Right.
But I'm also not
ignoring me.
I'm also not responding to everybody else. So there's that. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, whatever. I don't care.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Because
we developed a very good texting relationship in that regard. We never have to apologize. Oh, sorry, I didn't respond earlier. Like we don't have to bother with all that nonsense.
I love that. But yeah, it was just really painful to watch that whole section because I was like, he's gaslighting her. He's like trying to convince her that, like, oh, you're a woman, you're just overly emotional right now. Like, it was just disturbing.
I mean,
Yeah.
granted, though, I mean, she was kind of hysterical. I mean, am I right?
I mean, she was emotional for sure, but like,
it was a
equating that with
buildup.
like, right, like she's
Yeah,
been
I'm
holding
not
all
saying
that
it wasn't
in for a
justified.
while. Yeah.
I just have flashbacks to when Bert was breaking up with them, and she's like, "But she was my sister." Like that's what it was reminding me of, But she's my texts. Like
There's
this
some sort of attachment, some sort of unhealthy attachment that Dannielle has to the situation she's in with Garrick. I don't want to say the women, but just the situation. I don't know.
I think
Does that
she
make
feels
sense?
like she needs an ally and a friend so bad because her relationship with Garrick is so terrifying and so unfulfilling that she needs like a best friend who is like so that she can trauma bond with in a way, maybe.
Yes, exactly.
Like Becca, maybe you have better thoughts on this, but like
totally.
If she needs a friend, she needs a best friend, and so this way she can have all of that, I think.
So I've been thinking a lot about this as I've been watching Big Love. At the same time, which has been kind of fascinating to watch the show and Big Love at the same time. So I'm kind of glad I did it. And I have never seen Big Love before. It's not like I'm rewatching it. Like I've just never watched it. I'm on season 4 right now and it's terrible. I'll just say it. Like season 4, not good. But what's interesting about it is like watching the sister wives try to use their relationships as like a crutch. I mean, we'll say it, walking stick, crutch.
There you go.
Right, for when like their main relationship with their husband isn't working so well at that moment, right? So like it's this weird thing where it's like, okay, I'm gonna like have this relation. If this relationship isn't working, like at least this one is. And so I think, as we found out at the end of the episode, right? Not spoiler alert, like Dannielle's freaking out because Garrick's going to Brazil for a month, just piecing out for the whole family, right? Like they have kids. Like I was angry watching that. I'm like, he's just gonna leave for a month? What the hell?
He's just gonna fuck off to Brazil.
Like, what? Who does that? But like, and she's like freaking out about the state of their marriage. Like I think she was already feeling that and was trying to be like, but like I was gonna have this other relationship to kind of like buttress this this marriage. I don't know.
Right. We'll be right back.
Hey, fraudcasters. Everyone knows that finding the perfect t-shirt can be such a challenge. I know I've always had problems with it, whether it was the fit or the quality. Luckily, the perfect t-shirt does exist, and you can find it at Skims, the maker of my perfect t-shirt bra. Now I have the perfect t-shirt to go with that bra. From either crop silhouettes to long sleeve layering tees, there's a style for everyone. My cotton jersey t-shirt is now a wardrobe staple for me. I reach for it almost every day, and the fit is so perfect because it snatches me right in at the waist. I've washed it a million times, and it's held its shape really well. It fits like a dream. I absolutely love it. And honestly, you guys, I thought like, okay, this shirt is going to be too small for me, and it's not going to fit right, and all the bulges are going to show. But it doesn't at all. I put it on and it magically stretches to fit me perfectly, and it holds all those bulges in. Every little but last bulge that I have is all held in, and it looks fantastic. I absolutely love it, and it is super, super comfortable, and it is one of my new favorite t-shirts. You can shop the Skims t-shirt collection at skims.com, now available in sizes extra, extra small up to 4X. And if you haven't yet, be sure to let them know that we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu.
And now back to the broadcast. Some of that, like when you mentioned it on like from Big Love and stuff, and I think I saw this after so many seasons of Sister Wives and all the other like different polygamous families that they would meet up with and everything. And they come from this world where polygamy is expected, right? So these women rely on these sister wives relationships because their primary marriage is so shitty. Like that's the model they grew up with. So they grow up going, I have to have a strong relationship with my sister wives. You got Robin freaking out, going, sobbing Robin, crying about not being able to sit on a porch with her sister wives because it's so ingrained into her that you have to have a good relationship with your sister wives because the husband is this whatever patriarchal dick or whatever, and who abandons half of them half the time. So you have to have this strong relationship to, because you can't be alone or whatever it is your reason for wanting to have relationships surrounding you 124/7, which sounds fucking exhausting to me. But
well, and a lot of them don't live right. Like there's in a lot of polygyny situations, like a lot of them don't live together. So like oftentimes you have to like make a conscious effort to go hang out with sister wives because you're not living in a house together or like in the same neighborhood or block or compound. Like you're just living in apartments around the same city. Which is why when it was a criminal offense to be polygamous, like it was hard to indict because like it just looked like single moms. Like
yeah, how do you prove it?
How do you prove that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
A lot of what got them, though, was like welfare fraud and things like that.
Right. Yeah, other stuff, not the polygamy part. Yeah. It was like the offshoot, like the other criminal activity.
Right.
But anyway, but like I do think that like she's putting so much effort into like having a relationship with Nathalia because like she feels like her marriage is not working right now. Well, lack of marriage because they're divorced technically, legally, but like relationship that she's in.
Yeah, so at the end of it, she's crying, saying she doesn't know what's going to happen with their marriage, and that what if it's the end for us? What if he stays there with her? Obviously, she's going through the thoughts and feelings.
What would so Becca, with your experience, your knowledge of all of this historically and stuff, like if he were to just fuck off to Brazil and just not come back and just leave her, what would her options be, or what would she view her options as, and what do you think she would actually do?
So it's interesting because like normally if they were still legally married, like that's supposed to be for life for people in a more conservative Christian background. So, but they divorced. So like, I don't know how the rules apply now because like technically they're divorced, but they're still like deciding to be in a like, life committed relationship. So I'm not quite sure how this is going to play out for her. Obviously we know that like we saw previews, they stay together and then they start courting another sister wife and Natalia's maybe out. Like, we don't know from what we saw.
Right.
But like, so we know this is like, whatever, she's not going to leave him.
Because Nathalia may not be who they think she is, that they learned so much about her after 2 months. Like after 2 months, they discover that she may not be the same person she was the first 2 months.
So I was on Reddit last week and Nathalia made some comment like, "Hi, it's Nathalia." And people were like, "No, it's not." No, she's like, "No, it's like really me." And I guess her Reddit link looked legit and things like that. I forgot to tell you guys, but I didn't do too much research on it. But like when people asked her what happened, she said everything's fine. And like to me, I don't remember what she said, but basically it made me believe that she was not in contact with them anymore. So throwing that out there. I'll have to find the thread and send it to you guys.
That's interesting.
It's almost as if you couldn't predict who someone's going to be by 2 months of their behavior over a translator app.
With that said, though, like I was thinking about this and like other systems of like finding a mate, right? And like what is often called arranged marriages. It's more like facilitated marriages now. It's not like someone just meets people. It's not like married at first sight anymore. It's usually like matchmaker or the parents or whatever, but like it's facilitated by someone and then they meet and then they like go on a few dates and like decide if they want to marry. But like usually that process isn't super long.
No,
like, it's usually a few months. So like there are people who do this regularly.
But they know they're not marrying for love. Like they're
Right.
not
And
entering
it's
a
also
love marriage.
facilitated so they like know stuff about them, right? Like they have a bioform where
They
it's
have a
like
bioform.
height, weight, like degrees. Like,
But
you know,
they're not marrying for love, so they're not expecting to be in love by the time they get
right.
married the way Garrick is pretending. Garrick is going into this whole thing like, oh, this is a love marriage. And like in India or whatever,
Right.
you're talking about some of the matchmaking, they talk about there's a love marriage and a non-love marriage, right?
Right.
Like so when you're going into a marriage, a facilitated marriage where there's not love yet, your whole purpose is you're picking this person based on these criteria, whatever they may be for you, knowing that you are going to have to learn to love them, that will
Right.
come, as opposed to Garrick's situation where he's claiming he already loves her, or like what's his name of the Alamo clan people when he's like, I loved her to death, I would have done anything for that girl,
Right.
like pay her gym membership.
Take a bullet for her.
Take a
Those are the same, right? Taking a bullet, paying a gym membership.
bullet.
Also, I love how like it's ended so badly, but she still gets a free year of gym membership.
Well, because they were trying to keep her by doing that.
Are you
feel
sure
like
it's not a month-to-month membership? He's
I don't
gonna cancel
know.
that plan, that Planet Fitness $10 a month
I
plan?
don't know. I'd be curious to know what happened with that. Like, forget your relationship. I just want to know what happened with the gym membership.
I know, right? Did you get to keep the gym? Did you get to keep it? Did you get him to do a full year in advance?
Now she gets to work out with her new boyfriend on his dime.
She's probably been doing that the whole time.
Oh, 100%.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Give that girl props. She's making the hustle work. We didn't see the Dr. Axtra
Shane
people.
and Ashley.
Yeah, we didn't see them this round.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I needed a break from her.
Yeah, well, it's happening next episode apparently, where he says the famous line they keep putting in previews, where he's like, I think she's gonna take her away from me.
I'm afraid there's one of these girls is gonna take her away.
I will guarantee you there's no other girl in the season than that. There's nobody that's gonna
There
try
never
to take
was
her.
a girl, so there can't be
Exactly.
another girl. Because there never was a girl.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
So that was that it? Did we?
No, we have the
all-
Nick. We have
Garrick
Okay.
shenanigans.
Can I just say,
Oh,
seeing that family unit without Nick was super odd.
Oh yeah. We have to talk about the Davises. Let's
Yeah,
talk
we
about
didn't
Davises.
see Nick the whole episode. It was all just the women, and I was like, this is so much more palatable.
Galileo did not make an appearance.
He'll be back next episode, apparently. But
Okay, so tell us what happens in this scene, and then I've got thoughts. I've got many.
he was gone like the eclipse. He just disappeared. And then he's back. Okay, so Nick's wives go to a smash room, which again was so freaking fake. Dannielle did not look like she wanted to be there. She was not
My
aggressive
favorite
in her
was when she
smashing.
threw the cup and it just sort of bounced off the wall.
I liked at the very end.
Summarizes their relationship.
I
It was
don't
just
remember
boing.
which girl it was, but they threw a chair, and it almost looked like it was going in slow motion. But no, that's really just, and it just hits the wall, kind of.
Oh my
Taps it.
gosh.
It should be called the tap room instead of the smash room.
People mistake it for a bar.
Well, then she decides to wear like this cutoff, what? How do you describe her shirt? It looks like it has like cuts in it
Like a halter.
with your
Cut out
boobies hanging
mesh.
out, which is totally fine. But like you're going
Thing.
to a smash room, like my boobie will just like fly out of one of those little strings, and next thing you know, you got a boobie flying around, you got a
what in the
chair
name of
flying
booby
around.
was holding those things in there?
I feel like it's a safety concern. It's like, what if
They
you
didn't give
puncture
her
your
safety
boob?
goggles.
You need like
she needed safety goggles for her knockers that were
you
about to
needed
come
a
out of that shirt.
supportive sports bra to prevent him from hitting her.
Okay,
Listen,
my
I've got
God.
really huge boobs, and if I were to do that, it could hit me in the face. Like I could potentially lose an eye, and
yeah,
not
that's
from
like
a chair.
double sports bra situation.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch Crazy Ex-Girlfriend?
No,
So there's a song called Heavy Boobs in it.
I can relate so much. I'm gonna
It's
have
so
to Google
good.
it.
We should link it in the show notes, but like it's a hilarious music video. Like Rachel Bloom, like it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. And so, like,
Nice.
I was thinking about that as I was watching this episode because I mean, to be fair, I think she wore like a jacket over the shirt when she was
That ain't gonna stop it.
breaking things. Well, that's fair. But like, I was thinking about that when I saw the shirt she had chosen to wear for that. And I was like, man, like, I mean,
That's
as
a
someone
risk.
who also
that's
is
a fashion risk.
right, like as someone who is also well endowed on top, like I'm very much aware of locking and loading those babies when you're doing
Yes.
something active.
Yes.
Yes. 100%.
Whew.
100%.
Well, after they go to the tap room, they decide to go to get some
Tap.
lunch and discuss potentially dating again. And April and Jenny, they called her Jenny. Jen are ready to start dating. And Danielle's like, I've had some growing pains around, dating and being in a polygamous marriage with wives and kids. But she said she's ready. She's ready to get out there. But she did not look confident in that when she said that statement at
No,
all.
not at all.
So this is what I have a problem with about this whole scene. So this was all one scene. I mean, like one day, they're all in the same outfit. It's all the same thing. So they're talking at the beginning about how, okay, so Jen and Danielle had that talk, and and the other girl, we'll forget her name. The other girl.
Jen, April, Danielle.
April. Was like, we've been married, we've been together for a while. Like, we forget that not everybody's always on our timeline. We have to be more respectful of that, respectful of that, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, that was nice. They're gonna, okay, we need to maybe back off and maybe incorporate her feelings a little bit. They go to the rage room. Oh, this is great. We're doing this thing for you. Immediately after. So what do you think about dating? You ready to start dating again? How about now? How about now?
Like, I have a timeline question. So like they said that they had that conversation with her, like the one that we saw between her and April, I think, like 3 weeks before that or something. So like, how long did they wait until they were like, you're good with us dating again, right? Like, was
That's
it a
what I'm
couple
saying.
months?
Not
It's
even.
hard to say. I
It
don't
seems like
know.
a lot less than that.
Well, the way they film it, I'm sure it was just a couple days. They try to act like it's spread out, but we all know it's been like 48 hours.
It was like if that. I mean, this was all like after the rage room, but before getting coffee or drinks or wherever they went, they were like, yeah, we need to back off and like incorporate her feelings more. And then 20 minutes later, they're like, so you ready to start dating? And I'm
So
like,
like, here's my question though. Like, she knows she's on a show called Seeking Sister Wife. So did she really think they were going to give her time?
Right.
Because then there's no show. Like,
Exactly.
I don't know.
well, that's why she took her plants and moved out and got a lease.
It's wild.
Wild. Oh, yeah, but yeah, we did get to see them without Nick.
Yeah. Yeah. They're growing on me. Nick, not so much, but the wives are. I still hate Nick.
Can we talk about the eyelash situation?
Yeah. One of her eyelashes was put like, I don't know, they looked like off.
They look like two different sizes, two different.
Like I've done that when I put my fake eyelashes on. If I do it too high on the lid,
yeah,
like it looks like it's like too vertical.
And
the other one looked normal, and the other one was like, like she flicked it up accidentally, and she looked like she had. Yeah.
And I feel bad for it because like I'm terrible with lashes too. Like I mean, but like.
Somebody from the show should have said
yourself.
Well, and that so like before I went on my show, I was like reading everything I could find online for like tips if you were gonna go get filmed for a reality show. Because I was like terrified. And one of the things they said is like if you're on a reality show, like the crew isn't gonna tell you if you look like crap because like it's makes better for good TV. And so like look in a mirror like multiple times before you go anywhere on camera. And that's what I was thinking of when I was watching that. I was like, oh man, and no one said anything because it's like, oh well, whatever. People make comments about our lashes,
Thank God I had good producers because they were stopping us left and right.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, mine weren't like that, but I know for other shows.
Yeah, it makes sense. Remember when Darcy and Stacy were walking around, one of them with the hair extensions, like all out of place?
Well, they look.
See the clips.
They look half in the bag every time they go out. Their eyelashes, their extensions, they're all bad.
I was just like, dang, nobody said, hey, fix your extension. Come on.
No, because it makes good TV, because it makes you look
Yeah.
like you're not together,
Makes
right?
good memes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, we did see briefly the Ryan family, but I mean,
For
it
like
was for 2 seconds. Yeah.
And what did they even say?
So after
Nothing.
they arrived back home from stalking Stephanie, Justin said that he can't keep chasing her and that she doesn't have any respect for him or the relationship. And he said when it
Yes,
happened,
that's why she left it. Dumbass.
he wanted to bust windows out of his car, but now he just wants to move on. And I'm gonna go work out and let out my emotions. And that was
Did anybody
the
else find
only
that
thing.
scary? When he was like, I
What?
wanted
Which
to
part?
bust out every window in my car.
Yes and no, because I
Yeah.
feel the same way. Like I get angry like that, and I have those thoughts.
Okay. All right.
But that's me, and I'm not a man, and I'm not,
A guy who's intimidating when he shows up unannounced at somebody's house.
right. I'm not
Right.
stalking people and showing up at their houses, so it's a different. I can't really compare, but I get it being upset and wanting to, I've joked with you, Katrina, about the things I've wanted to do to like exes or whatever, but I'm not going to say them here.
No.
No, but my point
That group
is,
chat is not getting leaked.
the evidence.
The evidence. Oh, Danielle.
Danielle.
No, those phones are getting destroyed.
Yes. I mean, that was basically the episode. Nothing
Yeah.
else really happened.
It's the Garrick show.
Right.
Just Garrick's world, and we're all just living in it.
Yeah, I was thinking about this because I think that's the only family unit that like hasn't not been in an episode.
Well, they're the only one with a genuine storyline.
Yeah, like all the other like family units have been skipped over for an episode or two, right?
Because they don't have enough storyline to.
Yeah, but Mary Fields are the ones that we see.
And we could even see more of them because clearly there's a lot more that they're filming that we're not getting, like their whole time down there with Nathalia.
I find it interesting too that we see next time that Garrick is in Brazil, so we hear, and that he is planning on marrying her without any of his family there. It make sense.
Like
they had actually said at one point that he's not on good terms with his family.
No, but his like nuclear family, his like birth family, but like with
his
Bert,
sons,
they were planning. Yeah, with Bert, they were planning like a whole wedding with Dannielle and the kids and all that.
Yeah, like his immediate family,
right? His immediate family, yeah.
So I'm assuming he's just gonna marry this chick without anyone there.
Yeah, because I think Danielle's too pregnant to fly, and Garrick doesn't care because God told him
that he needs to
warm
have
embrace to marry her within this timeline.
Right.
Or he's gonna combust. I don't know. I don't know what happens if you don't do it. What happens if you don't obey God?
Okay, so there's a lot of thought processes on this. Some people just say like, you missed your chance, screw you, basically. Like,
missed your chance for what?
Like to do whatever God wanted you to do. Like you missed your chance, you don't get to do it again. But there's a lot of people who say like, oh, well, like God's God and like God's gonna find another way for like things to happen if like you missed your chance because God is a God of second chances.
God wanted me to go run a marathon. Guess what? I didn't do it. Sorry, God. Like what happened to me? I missed my chance to run a marathon.
Yeah.
What are the consequences for sinning in that case? Or like this is a very deep question at the end of her.
So what happens to Garrick if he doesn't obey God's very specific command to marry and rail this girl
right
ASAP?
So I'm not Garrick, so I can't interpret, but like but I would guess that like there's not the urgency that he is placing on this in any way, shape, or form.
You just said it, Becca. You said that there's some people believe there's a second opportunity. So there's just another 20-some-year-old girl waiting in Brazil to be
as we see on an upcoming episode. There's another. Oh, but she's not Brazilian,
right?
She's the Israeli, right?
Right.
No.
She's from Michigan.
Yeah,
but she comes from.
She's Muslim.
Muslim. That's it.
But she's American.
Yeah, and that's maybe how he sees it, is like, okay, well, like God's given me a second chance to like obey, so here I go.
But he probably sees whatever happens with Nathalia as he was obeying God, and it fell apart for. So what's the justification? Like, what kind of bullshit is he gonna spew? If he's following God, and then this whole thing falls apart. What's that? Is that God's plan too?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Is that
Right.
how it,
Or he puts it all on Nathalia and says, oh, well, she's a sinner and she didn't do what God wanted us to do, or some version of the two.
Okay.
What's interesting is I think, and as you were talking, I had this realization that like the reason they keep putting in all of the God stuff that Garrick is saying, like the reason that's making the edit is because they know it falls apart later.
I agree with that.
So like
They always set you up so subtly, like
Yeah.
set you up for the.
So as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, that's why they keep putting it in, is because to remind us, like, oh, Garrick says this is what God said to do. This is what God said to do. And then when it falls apart, it's like, oh, well, did God say to do that? Mm.
Oh, this is going to be interesting then to see what kind of bullshit he's going to spew, what parts of the Bible he's going to pull from.
Garrick probably dug his own grave when he decided to extend his stay for a month in Brazil, and Nathalia was probably like, "No, I can't deal with this
It
craziness."
was like, what?
Crazy man. Had it only been 2 weeks, maybe she wouldn't have seen the full crazy. But he extended his trip, and now she's probably like, "Nope."
Yeah. A month
Nope.
is
but
a
if I
long time.
It is.
It's like,
And I'm
I
like,
can't
somebody
imagine leaving
don't-
my child for a month unless it was something like I needed to do, right? Like I have to work or like I have to do whatever. Not I have to get some ass, because that's really what it's about, right?
Well, and how is he working for him? Like, I'm like, what kind of privileged dude is this that he
'cause
can just like
apparently their company, their custom home construction company, and his like brother or whatever, her brother, whoever that the other Sam and the people that whatever those people, the siblings, like they all do, like they own the school. Like Garrick owns it. I was gonna say Garrick and Dannielle,
Right.
but I'm sure she doesn't have any ownership stake.
Right.
And it does really well apparently. But
I'm gonna look them up.
so I don't know if it's like, because it's construction and he, God's going to take care of him or whatever. And maybe it's cyclical, or maybe he's the boss and he doesn't have to be there for all the things. And Danielle's home doing all the work anyway. Like, what does he need to be there for? He's got God's important work to rail down in Brazil.
I don't know. I'm just like, I wish I could just like step away for a month for like
Wouldn't that
whatever
be
I
nice?
want.
It's a
Right.
sabbatical. I'm going on a ass sabbatical.
An ass sabbatical.
Yep. It's
Oh my God.
sabbatical.
It's a sabbatical. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Amazing.
Oh God.
These people. God.
Oh my God. Okay. So I think that's it. That's all we
That's
got.
it.
Okay.
Are we? I can't believe we did that episode already.
Yep. That's it.
Not much
Oh my God.
content.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Okay. Bye.
Bye.